Okay, guys, are we ready?
Yep.
I'm going to start. We are the super social workers, and we will be presenting on conflict resolution. The group presenting consists of me, Jessica Chapman, Tishelle Carpenter, Terry Summers, and Ashley Johnson. In our presentation, we will be exploring the conflict of mandated birth control in women with addictions and mental health disorders. During this discussion, the four of us will consider this controversial topic using two different conflict resolution interventions and discuss how and why these methods are useful.
What is conflict resolution? Conflict resolution is a disagreement between two people or multiple people. Arises with differences, which could be disagreements over beliefs, values, ideas, or perceptions. And conflict is normal. This is a healthy part of relationships and bonds people share amongst each other. Four key Four key conflict resolution skills are quickly relieve stress, recognize and manage your emotions, improve your nonverbal communication skills, use of humor and play to deal with challenges. With quickly relieve stress, the ability to remain relaxed can be key. Failure to utilize self-control can become overwhelming. With recognizing and managing your emotions, emotional awareness, tuning into self and others. Improving your nonverbal communication skills is being aware of communication, avoiding negative body gestures, and maintaining eye contact. And with use of humor and use of humor and play to deal with challenges, communicating in a playful manner and humorous way is always helpful. To manage and resolve conflict, you must listen to the reasons, actively listening to the other's reasons for being upset. To understand, which means tuning into self and others' feelings. Paraphrasing, being able to repeat the other's reasoning allows for a better understanding, and acknowledging listening can correct any assumptions. Active listening, ask if anything remains unspoken, giving the person time to think before answering. Not to interject, allow the other person to speak before stating your point of view to fully understand the reasons.
The history of mandating birth control. The idea of eugenics dates back thousands of years, but in recent history, Sir Francis Galton brought the idea back in the 1800s when the thought of having a better race for America. When the Second World War began, the Nazi Party decided to use the idea of eugenics in their propaganda to win the war to have a pure race. Even in the 21st century, the idea of eugenics has been used in countries around the world. The issues that occur with the idea of eugenics is who to decide what type of person is best to procreate, and mandating birth control could be violates human rights and puts the questions in society's heads like how much will this cost, and will we continue to use mandated birth control in an ethical fashion. There's arguments for and against mandated birth control. Arguments for mandated birth control: it lowers the amount of females incarcerated for harming their children. They use alternatives to incarceration. Prisons will not be overfilled, and the government will be spending less on incarceration. Less babies being born in prison, and it'll lower the cost for babies being born because most of them, won't have quite as many medications and things like that they'll have to deal with. Also, that it's not a permanent solution. Instead, it's temporary until the person becomes sober, so we wouldn't be something that's permanent and it's not harming the woman. It also lowers the amount of funding needed with child protective services. Things against mandated birth control: it feels really a lot like eugenics. The history of eugenics and mass sterilization from the Second World War, it seems way too soon to revisit the idea of forced temporary sterilization. Violates human rights. America was built on a set of laws to make sure that our laws aren't violated, and it verges on the lines of violating them. And we're also taught from an early age that as adults we're mature enough to choose the path we take in our lives, so mandating sterilization would be a contradiction to that.
The two interventions we will discuss on conflict resolution are nonviolent communication and common grounds.
Okay, what is nonviolent communication? Marshall Rosenberg defines nonviolent communication as a language of life that enables us to move from a communication technique that uses defensive and aggressive language into using more compassion and empathy when communicating with one another. With the use of this process, we become more in tune with our needs and feelings as well as the needs and feelings of others. There are four main components to nonviolent communication. The first is observation. Observation is paying attention to concrete things and actions around us and doing so without judgment and evaluation. We learn to live in the present moment and simply observe what's there. The next component is feelings. Feelings is when we begin to distinguish between emotions and thoughts by noticing feelings and sensations that come and go in different situations. The third component is needs. As humans, we all have needs. When these needs are met, we experience feelings of comfort, happiness, and peace. When our feelings aren't met, we experience uncomfortable feelings like frustration and fear. According to Rosenberg, understanding that we, as well as the people around us, have needs is possibly the most important step in learning to effectively practice nonviolent communication. The fourth component is request. Request is to make a clear and present request is crucial to effectively using nonviolent communication. When we learn to communicate our needs by way of requesting concrete actions of others, we begin to find ways to ensure that everyone's needs are met. The two main parts of nonviolent communication are empathy and honesty. Empathy allows us to put ourselves into another's shoes to sense the same feelings and needs of the other person. This goes beyond compassion and creates a means to truly connect and share experiences with others. It also allows us to remain present to and aware of our own needs. Honesty is essential to true heart-to-heart communication. It begins understanding ourselves and our own needs in the present moment. Only then can we break down the barriers to communication that stand in the way of effective communication with others. The following model was put together by Rosenberg by combining the four components in the two parts. When I see that blank, I feel blank because my need for blank is or is not being met. Would you be willing to blank? And here is an example. I could say to my spouse, when I see that you are not taking your meds every day, I feel afraid because my need to know you are taking care of yourself is not being met. Would you be willing to try to be sure to take your meds daily?
What is common ground? Common grounds is the process that is used when group members have a different an opinions or view about a particular issue. Sometimes a group member's opinion is more about other members influencing them with their own personal opinion or views of the issue. The common ground process allows two people from each side to share their opinion or view to the other side. There are rules to the process that will ensure each side is heard and the other side is clear on what is said. The common ground process is used so that the group can move from conflict stage to community stage. The common ground process rules are confidentiality. Whatever is said within that group stays in the room. Listen. Allow the person to talk without interrupting. Paraphrase. Repeat back to the person what you heard them say and their feelings. Use respectful language, no cursing, disrespecting the other person's opinion, or anything to that sort. It's not a debate. This is to understand the other person's opinion or views. Use I statement. Talk about what the issue means to you personally.
Thank you for allowing us to share our presentation with you on conflict resolution.